Hi, Tomoko. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. How you going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good. Sweltering away. It's very hot where I am.
It is pretty humid here as well.
Hmm. Um, I wanted to assist you today. Is there uh, some aspects of the tasks that you would like to focus on?
Yes, please. I have already done for the part one,
Hmm.
and so learning content and student activities. I got idea from ChatGPT. Is that okay?
The learning content.
And student activities.
Uh, okay. The content should come directly from the syllabus or the curriculum document itself. So if I'm right, you're in Queensland, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen and we'll go from there.
thank you.
Okay, can you see that? All right,
Yeah, a little bit blurry, but I
it
can.
it should clear up. Okay, so if we go to the QCAA, and what subject is it that you're looking at?
Food and nutrition.
Okay, senior secondary. Okay, okay. Now, out of this subject, what unit are you looking at? So it's
Okay,
either one or two.
so I am, just a minute, please. I will open my QCA. Okay, so I am, so unit one,
Yes.
and so there are three topics.
Mhm.
So topic one, topic two, topic three, and topic two is mainly for vitamin and minerals, and topic three
Yes.
is for proteins.
Yep.
And it's because it's only 6 weeks, I
Hmm.
covered the topic three, protein.
Yep.
So
That sounds good.
yes, and the topic three, protein, that the five subject matters.
Okay. Now I'm just going to copy this and I'm just going to create just a blank document just to work in.
Okay.
And I'll change my view because I work in dark mode. So I'll just change it there. And this is content and I'll put it under here. Whoa. Hopefully I can get, there we go. That's a bit better. It's not just going from a copying and pasting a PDF to a Word sometimes plays around with it. But we
Yes.
also want to find the objectives, but we'll do that later that
Yes.
you want to target. So getting back to here, what particular content were you looking to cover in yours?
Okay. So I have covered. Um, which one is it? So I have covered uh, the first one, second one for the week one,
Yeah.
and the third one for week two.
Yeah. Okay.
And fifth one is that there's so many of the branches. So
Okay.
yes, so the fifth one of the I selected couple from there,
Yep.
which is comparing the sensory properties of food science experiment, also analyzing the information and data.
Okay. Now I'll just come back to you with some more questions in a sec. So if I was just to, here's a template, and if I just start plugging it into here,
Yes,
so this is week one, as you said. Um, Again, just playing around with this formatting, which can take a bit of time.
yes,
I'll just adjust this for here for now. So that's week one. And then if we go back, um, you said this one, the third one? Yep. And what week were you doing that one?
week two.
Okay. Okay. And week three, you were doing some of these ones. Examine protein.
Yes.
Yep. With that. Oh, and it was,
Comparing the sensory property
yes.
science experience
Yep.
and analyzing the information and data.
Excellent.
So both in week three.
Yes. Okay.
So what I've done is that according to this unit content and those unit content and the unit objective is number three, analyzing.
Yes.
And the teaching learning activities, I did protein foundation and problem solving uh,
Okay.
for the week one.
Oh, okay. Yep. So comprehend and use the problem solving. So there was an activity in here that,
Yes, so it's 4 hours. Would it be better if I share the screen or?
yeah, yeah. If you are able to, I'll stop sharing and you can do that.
Okay, so what do I do that?
But I just wanted to run through that process of, like, you can see how the unit content, we're not making that part up because that's what you're required to teach.
Yes,
It's the teaching and learning parts is where you get creative.
yes. Okay, so sharing. Um, sh- I'm sorry, I have to.
That's okay. I've got a dual screen set up, so because I do a lot of sharing on my screen and it's easy. But if you're only got one screen, it's a lot harder.
I actually have the two screens open.
Okay.
Now I can share, I think. Am I?
Okay, yes, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the teaching and learning activities.
Yes.
And so according to this unit content, I created these teaching content, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the teacher's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and and the student activities as these.
Yep. Okay, so what you've got there is great. It's very methodical. It's also comprehensive. A lot of what's in there you would find in what we call a teaching lesson plan,
Yes.
uh, which basically you could take that and you could almost teach the whole lesson just with that page. For a unit of work, it's too much information. So if you can condense that down, so if you go to the first bit where it says introduction, that part can all get deleted. And where you've got point one there, you could keep the points.
Okay.
Yep. And point underneath that, yeah, I would just delete underneath point one. Point
Uh,
two, yeah. Uh, point two, so each step of the model, I would put explain and provide example and leave it at that. But some of that detail that you've got there, before you go through and start deleting or everything, like condensing everything, you might identify one of these things which is going to comprise of part two or part B for this assignment, which is the teaching resource. So if
see.
there's anything there that you think there's a teaching resource that would be used for that particular activity in
Okay.
that week, then I would just strip that out so you're not having to redo it and then build your teaching resource around that.
Okay. So instead of details here, I have done the teaching resources.
Yep.
That.
Yep.
So this is a resource according to my teaching
Hmm.
plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And you can use AI to help you build that. And
yes.
and as you asked your very first question, you asked about whether um, unless I'm imagining things, which is possible. But, I would be looking at in the unit content those cognitive verbs. So if it asks you to comprehend and use the problem solving process, then if that's what your resource is addressing, make sure that there's in the teaching resource that they're doing that verb, if that makes sense.
Okay. So these teaching resources include the cognitive words as well.
Well, it's all about an alignment to make sure that the students are producing learning evidence that's going to help inform you as a teacher. So um, with the resource, if I can just get you to see where you've got written there, functions of proteins, explain in your own words. You've got that right there. It's on that page. Yep. That subheading, that functions of proteins, explain in your own words. So that explain is the verb,
Yes.
and in the content in week 3, I'm just looking at it now because we copied it. It says examine protein-based foods, including comparing the traditional. So there might be something there where you're making sure that you are, whatever that verb is, that resource
Yes.
is aligned.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So the
And that would be perfect if yours did that.
okay. So what you suggested is a simplify the teaching content,
Yes.
and most of them transfer to resource using the cognitive word,
Yes.
and keep the student activities as is.
The activities there, you could simplify it as well. Like it, let me see if I can find an example to show you the um, amount of uh, the expected amount of detail.
Okay.
So I'm going to be using worked examples as my hit strategy right now. I'm just looking at it now.
Okay.
Okay. Example.
The example that I found on the blackboard was even more complicated.
Well, that's not very helpful then, is it? Yes, let me look at it. Hmm. Yeah, it's because it's a just I think the way that they have uh formatted it, like it's a table, but they're not showing any lines,
Um,
and and the clarifier is that it's only it's a credit level, and that
do I the do I get a lower score if I don't reduce, if I don't simplify this teaching content? Because the reason I write down everything is because you've mentioned last week that if some other teacher, relief teacher covers, that they have to understand all the details. So that's why I thought maybe I need to explain properly what exactly that teacher can teach.
yeah, yeah, that's a really good question, and some like. in an ideal world, everyone would say, like, no one would disagree that more information is better.
Mm.
But the reality of the busyness of teaching, like
Yes.
this is just a 6 week unit of work. Um, you're going to be in a school teaching full time. You might have about 5 classes, um, and there will be 10-week units of work. Um, and if you're doing that level, I would suggest that you'd probably fall in a bit of a heap. Um,
Okay. But this I've got teaching content, for example, just only five or average five. And this is between 4 hour lesson, four different lessons. So
yeah,
I thought maybe just only the release
yeah,
covers only one, it says overview of unit objectives, or as well as a food and nutrition problem solving model. Only that one or two that covers. That's not much for the
no,
information wise, because this is including 4 hours.
yeah, yeah, and they're indicative hours, meaning that um, like you'll have that sort of time allocated. It'll be roughly 50 hours or 55 hours a term, um, broken down. But the reality is of getting through all that. Some weeks it'll take you longer, other weeks it'll take you less time. So it's just a roundabout um, time frame. Obviously, when you're teaching individual lessons, you're a little bit more rigid in your timing. Like, as you've got there, you've got your introduction that would be for 5 minutes, yes, and then you would want to get into work, assuming it's like a 40 or a 50-minute lesson. And at the end of the lesson, 5 minutes beforehand, you'd want to pack up. Um, there might be particular activities that you'll schedule for 10 minutes each, or 15 minutes each, to sort of break it down. Um, yeah. Look, I'm not, I'm only just suggesting to you that have a look at it. If there's things that you think
Too much.
uh, can be streamlined a bit more, then do that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. I will do that.
yeah, that's okay. I'm just still trying to find. Um, oh, okay. Here's one. Let me get this happening.
Oh, before I forget, so formative assessment and summative assessment, that's not within the lesson. It's maybe formative is within the lesson, but summative is a separate without lesson that everybody or the student have to work on it at home.
Yeah, that's a really good question. The answer is it could be both. And for instance, a summative assessment, uh, like an exam, uh, is a typical summative assessment, and that would be held in class usually.
Yes.
Whereas, let's just say it's a case study that you've given the students to do, then that might be something that they do at home, and that can also be a summative task.
Yes. So
Um,
yeah, that's the case study is probably the one I will do it.
mhm.
The choices of the cases, and then they can choose and then they can write about it. Would it be so? In that case, I will instruct what to cover for the writing, like I received the assessment rubrics. and then explanation. That's what I'm creating, and I.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're looking at a case study, you can look at the example that, like the task that we give you as an example.
Yes.
What you want to show is, what the task is, what the weighting is, how the various components of the case study are going to be weighted accordingly. So there might be particular outputs or pieces of evidence in the case study that might be worth more marks than others. That's entirely up to you.
Okay.
Um, I'm just going to show you this. Uh,
Okay.
yep.
So,
So I'm just going to share my screen. So this is a Victorian example, and this is an eels project. So it's a great example. Victoria, I'm quite impressed with a lot of the work that Victoria is producing at the moment. They're doing some really good quality stuff, and you can see like this is it's a Aboriginal languages unit for year 7 to 10. It's a sample unit of work, and for equity, I've purposefully chosen one that isn't in our technology area, just as an example. So, um, just to show you, and what you need to do now is, as I talk through this, just think about translating its format into how you would do that in Queensland. Okay, so you can see that they've provided a little bit of an overview of what the topic's about. Time, so this is 40 hours as a guide only, because we're not working strictly. But 40 hours, you could say, okay, well, this could be a 10-week unit of work, because 4 hours a week over 10 weeks, that's how the 40 adds up.
yes.
Like, I would have liked it if it had said, if it gave a week to it, but it hasn't. Um, it's just given information so someone could pick it up, and and much the same as what you've got, like with your content, it's actually pasted the content up front and shown
Yes.
um, where it's come from. So, I think that that's a good example. Um, if you do have any hyperlinks in your program to particular documents, and that would be very helpful. Um, but just to, like, you can see that they've got these little reminders. So, in terms of, it's a language unit, so things to focus on, any advice, this is just common teaching stuff, like, greeting the students in language, because that's what this particular subject is all about. It's about Aboriginal language. Um, but then it starts to show, this is what's happening over, like, these are the teaching and learning activities that are happening over these 40 hours. Why am I showing you this? I'm just showing you the compressed nature of the detail that's in
Yes.
here. And you're now just looking through, well, seeing how that translates into what you're showing, how you're showing it. But I haven't marked this particular piece of work. So what I would be looking for is that I'm going to be looking at this visit to the botanical gardens to see some eels.
Mhm.
Students fill in the words for head, eyes, fin, pronounced in language. I'm going to be going back up to the content to see if there's anything that requires students to write in language. So let's go back up. Information. They use language wherever possible. Okay. Students use language for factual information. Okay. So, okay. So you can see that whilst it's a little bit difficult to find that direct alignment, so that's why the template that we have, if I get this up on here, what we're trying to do is show this comprehend and use that's happening in your example. We want to see it, this direct alignment that's happening in the teaching and learning activities that they're doing it. So if there's something about describing facts, then somewhere in the teaching and learning activities there are descriptions that the students are doing. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, excellent. So, this is just an example, and again, like this is designed to suit the Victorian curriculum. This is just an example. This is not designed to suit our assessment task. So I've got lots of clauses happening in here, but the intention of showing this to you was just to support that, there's a lot in here of activities, but it's not actually broken down into the individual lessons and what would happen during the individual lessons, if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
yep. And that's, I suppose, the difference between a unit of work, which, like, we're going to cover all this content in our unit of work, and we're going to get the students to do particular things to align, such as an excursion. Okay, so that's, finding place in country. So there would be something in here where, understanding of country and place. So they're doing that. So for us, it's about, just we're making sure that we're covering it. So if your curriculum leader at your school says, "Oh, Tomoko, um, can I have your program for this term?" And you could check through the stuff, and yes, we did that. Yes, we did that. Oh, we actually didn't do that because that there was something on in school that week.
I
Um,
see.
yep. So, and that might be something that you decide is very important that you have to cover.
Mm.
But if you don't cover it, it will be like if you consider students' knowledge to be like a brick wall, there's a brick missing. Um, but it's just reality that things, life gets in the way, things happen. There might be a big weather event happening that where the students asked to stay home. Um, So, you'll register, you'll tick off on all these things, and you'll won't tick off on that. And you'll say, oh, flooding event, so cyclone Alfred or whatever, you know, and that's just the way that you'll find most independent schools will like to see that their teachers are teaching to the programs that have been developed.
Okay. Mm. So as I was wondering to look at the example as well as my uh, teaching learning activities,
Hmm.
I didn't specifically say which number runs which day of the week. So I'm imagining maybe 4 different lessons a week.
Yeah, that's fine. You can make that assumption. And if you're going to do that, you could probably put that up in if I share again, you might say that somewhere up here in the context. Um, there are 4 lessons every week, if you like. Um, and you might say in the program below, week 1, the teaching and learning activities would occur over those 4 lessons that would be occurring that week.
Mm, okay.
Whoop, whoop. Have you found AI to be useful to you in the developing the Part B teaching resource?
E yes, it's basically aligned to what I'm written here to the
Yeah.
content, and then that was used to create the resource that on the Word document, um, the questions like a note, ex
Yep. That's
explanation,
good.
the space for them for the student to write down. And I made it really large
Hmm.
writing 16 point because I have the vision problem student. And also there's an autism version as well to explicitly, like properly explaining how to follow the question.
Well done. That's excellent. So just like you already sound you're ahead of the, you're a couple of steps ahead. So well done there. Um, my advice to anyone else who would be looking to do that is just to make sure that AI can hallucinate, um, and AI doesn't really may not know the targeted audience. So remember that this week's content was all about, remembering that there's senior students and just thinking about that um, transition where we want our students to be, particularly our seniors, we want them to be more active and responsible for their own learning. So there's this transfer of responsibility for learning to them. So that's where you come in to have a look at what AI has suggested, and then you fine tune it. So there might be things that you think, oh, well, that's not appropriate, or that might work, but it might take too long in that particular lesson. So you know where this resource fits in or needs to fit in with your unit of work. So you've got the critical lenses that you are running over the resource, and through subsequent iterations with the instructions you give AI, you can fine tune your teaching resource.
So the teaching resource covers whole 6 weeks. Is that correct?
No, um, that's a really good question. The teaching resource might, like if I've got, I'm sharing this here, and there might be something that you've talked about, got the students to do with regards to this comparing nutritive, is that a word? Nutritive value of sensory properties and shelf life of meats. So whatever that activity is, the teaching resource might be related to that, but not necessarily, not the whole
Yes, so it's only the specific mm,
topic.
topics, but not everything what I mentioned for teaching content, but some of them from the week 1, some of them from week 2, or
Yeah.
week 6.
Yeah. So I'm just going to make something up here as an example. So, because we've been using this example, um, create a table in Excel that compares the nutritional values of a piece of 100 grams of lean mince, fresh, um, regular mince, um, let me just change it from mince to fresh fish, fresh fish, 100 grams of frozen fish, and 100 grams of tinned fish. And I can't spell fish. Okay, so in terms of the activity, we're comparing nutritional value. We're creating a table that compares nutritional value. Is it in the right context? So we're looking at shelf life.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so we've got these three examples of fish. One's fresh, one's frozen, one's tinned. So three very different. But the resource here is this table in Excel. So you might put in here using the Excel resource provided. Okay. And that might be your part B. Okay.
Yes.
So you could then work with AI to come up with something that you think is going to be good. It might even have formulas or whatever. Um, yeah. And it's it's only specific to that particular activity.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I have another question for assessment, another part, part three. Uh,
Yep.
6 week, 6 weeks of one term. That means only 60% out of 100. I'm talking about assessment weighing.
Yes.
What, how many percent should I mention or for weighing? Is it okay for 50% or should be?
Yeah. No, 60% is fine. Like that's
So
a
yeah, that means like 60% of the term hold.
yeah. That's a good question because it comes down to what your assumptions are.
Yes.
So if I was to go to what you, the task is, like in our unit, we have two tasks. These are two formal tasks. We have a lot of informal tasks. So at the moment, just you and me having a chat, there's a bit of formative assessment happening there, very informally, but
Yes.
but I'm gauging, what your comprehension is of certain things that you need to do, and you're asking questions. So that interaction between you and me is assessment, but it's informal but formative. So
Yes.
you're getting, if I was to use some of the language that we used in this unit, you're getting some missions um, of understanding how to get to the ultimate goal. But within that, like that happens on a daily basis in teaching. You're always like you will walk around the room and you'll look at a student doing some work and you'll provide them with some advice. So that's an informal task. And we
Yes.
don't we don't document any of that. But what we do have, because there are certain pieces of evidence that we use to report. So you'll do a report. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. You'll do a report midway through the year, and you'll do another report on the students at the end of the year. And what, how students are progressing, what they have achieved is based on a lot of formal assessment tasks. So in this case, because it's a summative assessment task, uh, you might have a quiz out of 100, for instance, but that
Yes.
quiz only amounts to, say, 60% of um, the overall assessment for the entire year.
Yes.
Yeah. So um, that's and how you do do that. That's entirely up to you. You're allowed to make those assumptions. Just be explicit so the marker will look at it and go, oh, okay, yes, it's worth 60%. And down here, like if we scroll down, you can see that what we've done in our example here is that we have it broken down. So out of the 60%, 20% is based on this,
Yes.
15% is based on that, 5% is based on that, 10%, 15%. Okay, so that'll all add up to 100. So let's just say, for instance, you get 90 out of 100, then, that, in my own records, I'll say, Tomoka got, 90 out of 100, and this assessment task is worth 60 of the overall unit. So 0.9 times 60 is however many marks, and I'll just keep that in my records under your name.
I see.
And then at the end of the year, or in our case, the end of this unit, let's just say, for instance, that you got, I'll just get my calculator up. Okay, so we've got 0.9 times 60 is 54. And let's just say that for assessment 1, you got 78. So you got a D. So 78 divided by 100 times, whoops, sorry. Yeah, 0.78. So 78 over 100 times, go away, clear, 0.78 times 40. So you got 31.2 plus the 54 for assignment 2 is 85. And we don't give out marks at the university, we give out grades.
Yes.
So, and we know that with our range that 85 and above is a HT.
Yes.
So there's an alignment to that. But if that came in at say 83, 83, it comes in as a distinction. If it comes in at 64, then you get a pass for the unit. So that's how we align marks
Yes.
to then grades. So in your case, summative assessment task, it's appropriate for the student. So remember, think about this transfer of responsibility, senior students, what it is that we're trying to get them to do. We are assessing the learning content from the unit. So what you're doing is related to and it addresses the content in the unit. You have a marking rubric with the criteria, and this is the template. So, like you can see as an example here, there's the criteria, and this is the rubric. So this is the evidence that we look for.
Yes.
And whoop, have I gone too far? No. Yep. Yep. So yeah, just look through that. That's for says that you can use AI to help you design, and just getting down to summative assessment. Assesses explicit mapping, instructions, conditions, due date, weighting with submission requirements, make it clear. And if you have developed a good rubric, uh, it can help validity because um, everyone is being assessed in your class. Everyone's being assessed according to the same criteria. That's good.
So I can use AI to create these rubrics.
Yeah, but again, just be careful with the AI because just have a look at it because there will be things that it will look at. It will suggest, let's just say, marking criteria. It might have something in here that is not measurable. So particularly with rubrics, you need to make sure that you can measure it. So for instance, in this case, in this example here, um, there's an alignment with the information. Okay. Um, the audience in this case, it's meant to inform the student. The student, it's directed at the student, um, not the teacher. Um, there are standards that are referenced. So in this case, with our standards, what's expected at a HD plus level, now for us, we know that that is around 95 and above, 85 to 94. So we can see that the standards here are naturally much higher than the standards here.
Mm.
So that's with the rubric, obviously we don't mark from a deficit perspective. What we do is we look at the work. We have the work in front of us and we go, what can we see?
Mm.
Uh, ah, literacy or numeracy is evident. So in this case, in this piece of evidence that I'm looking at now, there's no numeracy there. So literacy or numeracy, so it could be that one. Literacy or numeracy could be that one. Literacy and numeracy. Okay, well, it doesn't make it to that level. So it's either these two. So we look at what we try to find marks rather than taking them away, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Okay. Do you have any more questions?
What does literacy and or numeracy evident?
Okay, so for instance, let's go to this one. Oh, or did I close that? Eels project. This is an easy one because literacy and numeracy, because it's a language
Yes.
unit of work. So literacy is very much aligned to it. But the difference between spelling and literacy is a focus on comprehension. Like I might be literate in being able to use a sewing machine. I might be able to be literate in interpreting the road signs when I'm driving. So it's what you understand from the reading of something. So um, in this case, it's very explicit because students have to be able to focus on particular language, particular words and what they are in a specific Aboriginal language. Um, but in your case, like if it's a food one,
Yes.
that's an easy one because food is like if we get to here, if I was to talk about grams, there are literacy aspects revolved around, well, what's a gram? You know what I mean? What's in reading a nutritional table?
Mm.
Okay. So you could call this a literacy activity, right? Because being able to read one of those nutritional tables that we get on any food item revolves a bit of literacy because, you got serving sizes, then you got uh, per 100 grams. Um, so that one would be very easy for you and it's evident. Also, the numeracy, 100 grams, uh, 1 cup, 3 cups, um, being able to calculate using the Excel resource. So there's a bit of numeracy also involved. So this particular task could be a literacy and numeracy activity. So I would be explicit in highlighting that in your unit of work. If that's in the marking criteria, then tick, you know, as far as what the markers are concerned, yes, there's evidence of literacy and numeracy in this. Sometimes there are some units of work you'll see where they'll put it up here somewhere. They'll go, uh, let's just, oh, so there might be some things that you want to explicitly focus on. And you will find some other examples of units of work where they do stuff like this.
Mm.
But if you're using the marking criteria as a checklist, just to check, have I got this? Have I got that? I think you'll find that that would be very helpful.
I see. Okay. Could you a little bit scroll down, please? Just the
Sure,
top. Oh, yeah.
sure.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you. Or just it's a blurry for a long time, so it's hard. I, I need to wait. Okay, so the references I have included resources of online videos, YouTube's, and then
Hmm.
website recipe examples. Do I have the reference?
Yeah. So if you've used some references, I would put them down in here. I
Yes.
think I think just to make sure that we cover everything. So to do that, I would recommend that let's just go to, I have it saved here as the library and APA. So in the Faculty of Education, we use APA, so it's the American Psychological Association's method. And for instance, if you've used a website, just just click on what you see as the relevant type of source. So website, and then it's showing you if you're using a website in text, like you could refer to it like that. Or if it's part of a reference list, then you would put it like this. But what I would recommend sometimes when you're developing units, so I'm just copying and paste this as an example, right? So there's an example of a website, and I'm just going to number one. So there might be somewhere here that I've using that, and I might put in a one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a footnoting style. Um, there we go. So it's that little superscript. You could use that, or yeah, but it's just saying that yes, one is here, one is here. As an example.
Okay. And how do I reference ChatGPT?
Great question. Let's see if it's in there. Let's go back. Here we go. So in text, citation would be like that. Reference list. Let's just say it's Grammarly. So it could be Chat GPT. Um, you could ask Chat GPT what version it is. Um, Obviously, it's hyperlink. It's a large language model. Um, but if it's not specifically referenced, you've just used it to um, probably your resource actually. If you have a copy of your teaching resource and you've used it for that, then obviously that would be the reference. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good question.
So I don't need to link to anywhere for this ChatGPT.
I think well, some people what they'll do if this is the teaching resource, some people might if you highlight over it and hit got link.
Yes.
So some people might have this as a file that's in the cloud,
Yes.
or you might have another place in the document. So you can link to that particular source.
Yes.
And in this case, because that's number, let's just say that this is Chat GPT, whatever Chat GPT is, version 3.0 or whatever. I'm just making this up. Um, then yes, there'd be a two. There we go. So we got that, but your teaching resource might link to another part in this document. So some people will play around with the formatting um, to include particular links in their unit of work, just for a neatness or for a convenience perspective.
Yes, yes.
Even same with the assessment task. Some people might, you know, have a link and it goes to another place in the document and might go to part C. You think you're good to go now, Tomoko?
Yes, I am all good. Thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Can I say, like, this will be the last time that we work together in this unit,
Yes.
but I've really enjoyed working with you and best of luck
Thank
for
you very much for the two private lessons.
yeah, yeah. It's a pleasure. You take care.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.